This is the Mind the Gap podcast from the Time Signal Limited. It's presented by Michael Comyn. Please like, subscribe and share with your friends. Program notes and more information are available on mindthegap.ie. Here's Michael.
Welcome back to Mind the Gap, where we explore the spaces between our thoughts, decisions and values. This episode brings together two of my favourite worlds. Frank Sinatra's music, specifically his iconic song My Way, and the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. Now, if you know me, you know that I've got a deep love for Sinatra and the whole Rat Pack era. Something about that time, the smoothness, the style and the sense of grit and confidence is wrapped in a classy package, and it's always captured me. But more than the music, Sinatra's voice resonates with a deeper part of life's journey, especially when it comes to facing down our choices and learning to live with them. Naturally, this overlaps with another passion of mine, Stoic philosophy. It's a podcast, so we can't play the song, but I'm fairly sure you know it, so hum it in your mind as we go along. Both Sinatra and the Stoics seem to speak to that part of us who wants to live with confidence, purpose, and yes, without regret. In My Way, Sinatra gives us an anthem for resilience and acceptance. But if you listen closely, it's also a song that quietly invites the question of regret, not as something to run from, but something to make peace with. The Stoics teach us that regret, when handled properly, can help us grow. They'd argue that it's not about living without mistakes, but about living without being enslaved by them. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius writes about accepting each part of life as it comes, seeing everything as woven into the pattern of our lives. For Marcus, our past is not a place to get stuck in, but a series of threads that add to the fabric of our character. When Sinatra says, "And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain," he's confronting the same tapestry of choices, achievements and regrets. He's not trying to rewrite it, he's owning it. Listen to Sinatra belt out, "Regrets I've had a few, but then again too few to mention," and it feels like reading Epictetus' guidance on control. Epictetus, one of the core Stoic thinkers, taught that we shouldn't waste time worrying about things we can't change. Instead, he argues, our energy is best spent on what's in our power, our actions and our responses, and how we choose to move forward. This idea resonates in Sinatra's choice to mention his regrets only in passing, instead focusing on his pride in having lived authentically his way. For the Stoics, regret is something we shouldn't avoid. It's something we should transform. Epictetus advocated for premeditation malorum, or premeditation of evils, a practice of mentally preparing for what could go wrong. It's like taking Sinatra's lyrics to heart before making decisions. Suppose you've imagined and accepted that things might not always go as planned. In that case, regret loses its grip on you because you've acknowledged the risk up front. Seneca, another of my favourite Stoics, believed that we often regret actions without clear values. He thought that by knowing ourselves and our values, we could make decisions that align with who we are, reducing regret down the line. Sinatra's declaration, "I did it my way," speaks directly to this. It's a statement not just of pride, but of integrity, of living in line with one's own values, regardless of the opinions of others. In Seneca's eyes, Sinatra's journey would be a triumph, a life lived not by avoiding mistakes, but by embracing them as part of a personal, meaningful path. For anyone who's wondering if Sinatra or the Rat Pack might have understood these ancient concepts, Sinatra, with his mix of confidence and reflection, would have understood the Stoic focus on self-responsibility and resilience. The Stoics didn't believe in blaming others or trying to rewrite what's already been lived. For them, true strength was in owning every moment, mistakes, successes, and regrets included. So, how can we apply these Stoic principles in our lives when regret starts to surface? First, we can practice Marcus Aurelius' advice to accept the past as part of a greater whole. Think of every regret as a single thread in the story of who you are, in one part of the fabric, not the whole picture. And as Sinatra reminds us in My Way, that entire picture, imperfections and all, gives our life meaning and character. Epictetus' guidance on control can be beneficial. If you find yourself haunted by a past decision, acknowledge it, and then ask yourself if there's anything you can do now to address it. If the answer is no, give yourself permission to let it go. Epictetus would tell us that worrying about what's beyond our control misuses our energy. Sinatra's decision to quickly move past his few regrets aligns with this too. He's not ignoring them, but he's not letting them define him. Finally, think about Seneca's point about living with values. When we regret something, it often points us towards a value we care about. Maybe honesty, kindness, or courage that wasn't fully honoured at that moment. Instead of letting regret overwhelm you, let it reveal what you truly care about and allow it to guide your future choices. In My Way, Sinatra's clear sense of self shows us that if we live in alignment with who we are, regret becomes less of a burden and a minor footnote in a well-lived life. So the next time you listen to Sinatra's My Way, remember it's not just a song about doing things boldly or without compromise. It's about facing life with all its highs and lows, making peace with our decisions, and learning to hold our regrets lightly. The Stoics and Sinatra teach us that a meaningful life isn't devoid of mistakes or regrets. It's one where we learn, grow, and keep moving forward with pride, resilience, and grace. And before we go, just humour the music fan in me to tell you a little bit about the song My Way. An iconic song, famous for its anthem-like qualities. It was initially released in 1969. Though Sinatra performed it and made it famous, the song's origins trace back to a French tune called Comme d'habitude by Claude François and Jacques Revaux. Paul Anka, hearing it while in France, bought the rights and adapted it into English for Sinatra, crafting lyrics that embodied resilience and introspection. There is a rumour that David Bowie was involved in the song too. Although not directly offered the song, in 1968 he was invited to write English lyrics for the French song Comme d'habitude, titled Even a Fool Learns to Love, but was ultimately rejected. Paul Anka acquired the rights to the melody, wrote the new English lyrics, and became the song it is today. Thank you for listening to Mind the Gap. Until next time, remember that our regrets, like our triumphs, are part of the story that makes life worth exploring. Mind the Gap.
That was the Mind the Gap podcast. It was presented by Michael Comyn. Please like and subscribe and tell your friends about it. You'll find more information and episode notes on www.mindthegap.ie.